So today I wanted to do something a little more serious and discuss living with schizophrenia. I might seem really out of it right now, because I have actually made several attempts to record this video today, and I'm just not in the clearest state of mind right now, but I still wanted to do this, and I still wanted to do my best to make it work. So if this is a complete disaster, I apologize. I wanted to do this for a few reasons. Number one being that I wanted people to have something they could relate to. People that either suffer from schizophrenia or that, have a loved one that does. Knowing that they could have someone they could relate to, or a place they can come to get information or ask questions. I feel like that's really important. The other thing is that I understand schizophrenia is a very scary word because of the way it's portrayed in the media. And I wanted to help to break a lot of the stigma associated with the word schizophrenia and with this illness as a whole. My other thing is that I deal with a little bit of a unique experience. And while all people who deal with schizophrenia and just mental illness, life, everything in general, all experiences are unique to a degree, mine is a little different than what you would stereotypically hear about. I not only have a different type of schizophrenia than what you would normally hear about, but I also had mine onset as a child. I have had symptoms of schizophrenia since I was very little, and my first hospitalization, in fact, was when I was about 6 years old. So, because of that, it makes things a little different for me, and it makes my experiences a little different since I grew up with this. I've lived with this most of my life, and it's, for the most part, I guess you can call it normal for me, because I've never really known anything different, whereas most people who develop schizophrenia, it's at a later age, usually between 18 and 25, and they had some sort of a life before the schizophrenia affected them, and I don't know what it's like to have that, and in my opinion, I feel like that would be even more terrifying than, having your whole life be pretty much, I guess, normal to you, even though you're not normal to everyone else. So, I kind of wanted to go over my experiences since they're a little bit more unique, and for people to understand that, not everyone dealing with this mental illness is exactly the same. There is no, cookie cutter, this is schizophrenia and everyone's like this. There are different types, there are different ages it develops at, there are different, reasons it can develop, or different things that can trigger that initial psychotic break in, people who develop it at a later age. So, my experiences are my experiences, whereas they might not be the same as your experiences. They might not be the same as your loved ones' experiences. They might not be the same as, experiences you've heard of, because mine are a little bit more unique, and I just kind of wanted to go into that. I know I'm not going to be able to discuss everything, just because, number one, there's a lot, and there are some things that require their own video, and then I don't want this to be like an hour-long thing either. So I'm going to try to keep it as short as I can and just kind of go over my symptoms today and basically what I deal with. And if you have any questions or anything you want to hear or elaborate on, for me to elaborate on down below, you can just let me know. Leave your questions, leave your comments. Try to be as kind as you can. I don't need rude comments by people just because I'm different. I'm, doing my best. So, anyway, so to start out, disorganized schizophrenia is different than what you would stereotypically think of when you hear of schizophrenia. I know most people think paranoid schizophrenia, and that is not what I have. I do have some instances where I will have paranoid or delusional thinking or breaks from reality, But for the most part, those are not my primary symptoms, nor are they really symptoms that affect me on a regular basis. I do have hallucinations quite regularly. My auditory hallucinations are pretty much 24/7. Visual hallucinations usually do occur on a daily basis, but they're scattered and sometimes more severe than others. My auditory hallucinations, even some days more severe than others, depends on my mental state, depends on what I'm going through. It could even depend on my environment as to how bad they are, or how loud they are, or to what degree I'm hearing them, or even what they are. So different things can affect that, but I do deal with hallucinations quite frequently. The things that make my schizophrenia different are that disorganized schizophrenia means that you have, well, a disorganized thought process. My actions are disorganized. My words are sometimes disorganized. My thoughts are disorganized. Nothing is really in the place it's supposed to be. I usually compare it to, if you were going to look for something in a huge file cabinet, and instead of going to the exact drawer and the exact file and pulling out exactly what you need, you just dump all the files on the floor, spread them around, and then look for the thing afterwards. That's pretty much how my brain is operating constantly. There is no, organization within my head. I could be talking about one thing and then have it turn into something completely different. I sometimes ramble because my brain struggles to connect points or to actually reach a point. My words sometimes don't come out correctly. They will come out in a string of gibberish, or just words that don't make sense together, or words that are completely switched around, which is known as word salad. And I know other people that don't have, this illness do suffer with that. I know there are a lot of other illnesses which cause that. So, yeah. I'm trying to think of what else to discuss. I know a lot of my other problems are pretty much with dealing with social situations. It's basically my brain works in the way of, when you're a child and you're trying to learn about how to interact with people, how to understand what people are trying to say, or read body language, or you pick up on social cues, and learning how to be a person, essentially. My brain's still trying to figure that out. I don't do well picking up on social cues. I don't do well understanding other people's emotions. I don't do well just communicating in general, because a lot of the time it's difficult for me to communicate exactly what's going on, or exactly what I'm trying to say, or exactly, what I'm feeling. And I mean, I guess the next point is that a lot of the time I don't feel a lot of things. I do get emotions, but it's hard for me to really understand what they are or to properly express them. And in the same way, it's difficult for me to understand what other people are going through, and to try to help them, or to try to, maybe console them in a hard time. A lot of my reactions can be inappropriate at times, and it's not intentional, but, someone might be crying and I will try to comfort them and start laughing. And it's not that I find it funny, it's just how it happens. The most stereotypical example would be, someone laughing at a funeral, not because it's funny, but because they can't properly express what they know they need to. And sometimes I don't fully know what I need to express. Sometimes I don't understand. I'm very childlike in a lot of my behaviors, whereas I don't always understand everything, and sometimes I do need help, knowing what's correct and incorrect, what's inappropriate or appropriate for certain situations. Sometimes I'll say or do a thing that's completely inappropriate for a situation, and it's not intentional. That's what my brain processes as this is the correct response. Sometimes I might be trying to lighten the mood in a bad situation, and I might say something that's just completely, unrelated or just inappropriate to the situation. And You know, sometimes I might even just do things inappropriately, like showing affection by poking someone or hitting them, not in a hurtful way, but like, you know, like little taps or something instead of, you know, I like you, or, you know, you're my friend. I might do weird ththings like that. So it makes friendships and relationships and just communication in general very difficult for me. So I kind of keep to myself a lot. I have a very small handful of people that I keep very close, that do understand me and what I go through, and that's pretty much it. I don't really do well getting close to other people, and it's not intentional. I want more than anything to be able to do that. It's just a lot of people don't understand, so I end up being, you know, the annoying one, or, you know, I'm trying too hard, or I'm just weird, or I'm whatever, and it causes, you know, a lot of self-esteem issues and depression and a lot of anxiety in a lot of situations too. Another thing I have problems with is just, you know, daily routines, just normal everyday things, sometimes even eating, showering, you know, getting dressed. Those things are sometimes very difficult for me, and I usually have my partner with me most of the time. I don't like to leave the house alone. I have some other mental illnesses that I do deal with, namely anxiety and depression, which are, those kind of correlate with the schizophrenia. And I also do have PTSD, which causes severe dissociation at times, and also more anxiety and depression. So I don't like going out by myself a lot because sometimes my mind tends to wander, or I will dissociate, or I will just not be in, you know, a stable enough space to really function properly outside. I'm sorry, my dog is terrified of the rain, and it just started raining. It's okay, buddy. I'll be right back. I'm gonna go comfort my dog. Sorry about that. Yeah. Just my luck, it started raining. Anyway, so yeah, unfortunately, between the schizophrenia and my other mental illnesses, there's, you know, some struggles I go through, and some of them share similar symptoms, some of them, you know, it's okay, Robbie. Sorry. Some of the symptoms make the other illnesses worse. It's a kind of crappy cycle that I'm stuck in, and, you know, some days are harder than others, some days are easier than others, some days I might appear more stable than others and I might function a lot better, some days I might be a complete wreck and not be able to get out of bed, some days I might literally be acting like a 5-year-old child, whereas some days I am, you know, on top of everything and I'm super mature adult that can do things. I have to take everything day to day because I don't know how I'm going to be tomorrow. Sometimes I don't know how I'm going to be 5 minutes from now, and the littlest thing can cause me, you know, anxiety, or it can cause my mind to start to wander, or it can, you know, it's okay, buddy. I'm sorry. See, like, this right now is kind of a distraction because it's making me lose my train of thought even more in what I'm trying to talk about, but, I'm gonna probably cut it right here. If there's anything else that you want to know, if you would like me to elaborate on anything else, if, you know, you have any other questions, comments, if there's any other aspects of this illness you'd like me to discuss, please let me know. If you'd like me to discuss PTSD, dissociation, just anxiety, depression, those other things I deal with, please let me know, because I just want to be able to help other people and have people know that they do have a place they can go if they need to talk. Other than that, I hope you enjoyed this mess of a video. Like I said, I'm not really all there in the head right now. I'm kind of rambling a bit at this point, which I guess is kind of another symptom of what I deal with, so at least you're experiencing that. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope it helped in some way or another, or at least just gave you more insight to, you know, what it might be like to have this illness. If you did enjoy it, if it helped, please, like the video. If you want more like this, or like my other videos where I'm going to be doing unboxings and follow me around and more fun stuff, please subscribe. And I guess that's about it. And I'll see you next time. Bye bye.